Okay, hello to any of you who are watching this out on YouTube. I am Taro, and these are going to be my card reviews for the Ashes of Outland expansion that's coming out for Hearthstone. Yep, got that right. Alright, so anyways, Ashes of Outland, this is the new expansion, this is the new year, this is like all the standard stuff that we don't care about in Arena anymore because, hey, Arena, we are just we have different sets. Except our sets this time are standard. So, alright. Anyway, there's a lot of changes that came in. The priest changes, they've already happened, but they're not available in Arena yet. I'm not going to cover those. Those have already been covered by other people, so if you want, you can look at those. I am going to cover the Demon Hunter change. I'm going to cover Demon Hunter, and I'm also going to cover the expansion. So, anyways, getting into Ashes of Outland very quickly. I think this might be, and I've said this before, this might be the most powerful expansion that we've ever seen in Hearthstone. And more importantly, this might be the most powerful neutral expansion that we've ever seen in Hearthstone. Because I'm looking through this, ignoring the class cards. The class cards, like the demon cards, are insane, but the class cards are fine. What I'm talking about is the neutral cards. And if I pull it up over here, neutral. So yeah, if I pull up the neutral cards over here, there are going to be a lot of insane neutral cards. Most of these guys, not so much. Where's the... Filter. Okay, this is weird because there's a 1 mana one. Aha, I realized. They are ordering these by... yeah, here. Sort by most recent. So I had it previously on low to high, and that was a mistake. All right. Anyways, getting back in here. So going through these, there's a lot of really powerful neutral cards that are going to be in the game. So not just that, so there's big cards like this, and then there's big taunts that are going to be in the game. There's powerful removals that are going to be in the game. There's a new version of Eccentric Scribe that's going to be in the game. And more importantly, almost all of these cards are commons. So the problem with that is, like, that's going to really warp Arena. And without as many powerful class cards, because the class cards are actually kind of reserved here, like, it's going to be much more of a neutral meta where you have to focus on these powerful cards that impact the game. All right. So in addition to that, there's a few new mechanics. The Demon Hunter one, Outcast, I'll get into when I talk about Demon Hunters, but there's 2 new mechanics as well. One of the new mechanics is Dormant. Dormant is an example here, Imprisoned Vilefiend. Dormant for 2 turns, rush. So what happens is you play this on turn 2. Turn 3, it doesn't do anything. Turn 4, it wakes up. And then on turn 4, it's able to attack. Or it's not able to attack, it still has a summoning sickness. So instead of playing a card on turn 2 and having it be able to attack on turn 3, you play a card on turn 2 and it's not able to attack until turn 5. So in general, when I take a look at these cards, I take the mana cost and I double them to impact how much tempo you're losing by doing nothing on this turn. And that's something I do with other cards which have like a delayed effect. So, for example, Imprisoned Vilefiend. If you spend 2 mana, you're going to do nothing. If you played a 2 mana 3/2, your opponent ideally will trade it off with a 2 mana removal or place a 2 mana minion that contests it. And you'll be at a net neutral 0 in tempo. But if you play 2 mana and you do nothing, your opponent is now going to be ahead 2 mana. Because they can play their 2-drop. And then you play their 3, their 2 trades into your 3, and now they're up 3 mana, and so on. So by yielding board control, and by yielding the opponent 2 mana that they already have on the board, you're paying a penalty. And the way to make up for that penalty is that this card has to be more powerful than the 2 mana it initially is, and in most cases this is doubling the cost, and what you get here is you get a 3/5 with Rush, which we've had Stormwind Knight, 2/5 of charge, We've had Swift Messenger, 2/6 with Rush, or 6/2 with Rush, that changes. The Hippogriff, 2/6 with Rush and Taunt. So you can see here, a 3/5 with Rush fits right in with about what Blizzard would be evaluating for a 4-drop. So that's mechanic number 1. So the problem with this mechanic is that there are certain class cards. I don't think there are any dormant... I'm taking a look here. Yeah, there's no dormant neutral cards, but there's certain dormant class cards. I'll pick one an example. I pick one that comes to mind. Priest. Or not Priest, Mage. Why did I say Priest? All right, anyway, here. So this is a 3-mana 4/5, and I'll get more into it later. But here, dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So your opponent knows this is going to happen. Your opponent is not going to play a 3/2 on the board knowing that this card, when it awakens, is going to kill it. They might if they don't know you have the effect in hand, but they aren't going to do that if they don't know you have the effect in hand. If they know the effect's coming, they're not going to play into it. So some of these things, like the AoEs, these are much better when your opponent doesn't know 100% you have them because they can play into them. So effects like this, I'm going to obviously take into account. Because like if you had a 6-mana 4/5 plus a Consecrate, that would be completely busted, right? So dormant, that's the one new mechanic. And the second new mechanic, which is almost entirely with class legendaries, is the prime mechanic. So here, because we're on Mage anyways, Astromancer Solarian. 2-mana, 3/2, spell damage +1. That's fine, that's an above average card. Shuffle Solarian Prime into your deck. And what is Solarian Prime? Okay, it doesn't really show. Can I? It will not show Solarian Prime as like a big card here, but it says here. 7/7, 7-mana, 7/7, spell damage +1, Battlecry, cast 5 random mage spells, targets enemies if possible. So just think about how insane that is. It casts 5 random spells. They're not going to... The targets yourself thing, which was like the problem of certain things like Bag of Wonders, is not there. It's going to target the enemies. So it's like 5 spells on top of a 7-mana body. And that's like completely busted, right? So all the classes except for Demon Hunters get this effect. And I'm going to say this, most of these effects are completely game breaking. Most of these effects, like if you get the upgraded minion, you win. But when I rate these effects, you have to factor in first, you have to get this guy. Second, it has to die. And some classes have ways where you can silence or you can transform creatures, and this death rattle will not go off all the time. Third, you have to draw this card. And when you have like 20 cards in your deck, it's really a low chance to draw it. It's a lot lower than you would think. So when I factor in these cards, I compare them to Ungoro Elise, who was a 5-mana 5/5 that shuffled a 2-mana draw 5 cards into her deck. And that was a okay card, but not really a game-breaking card. Like, as good as 2-mana draw 5 cards is, like, that would be like 110, 120 or something insane like that on any tier scores. Like, you just didn't draw the pack enough to justify the card. And it was just a 5/5. So for most of these, I'm not sold on this, and I could be wrong, because if the meta is as slow as I think it's going to be, then the prime cards are going to be absolutely insane. Anyway, those are the 2 mechanics. For the meta itself, the key thing with the meta is that not only do we have the Ashes of Outland cards here, but we also have the expansions that are coming in are, if we can pull them up here, of Galakrond's Awakening is back with, I'll do all classes, with like all the completely insane Galakrond's Awakening cards. And then in addition, we've got Descent of Dragons, which has like completely busted cards. We have Saviors of Uldum, which has completely busted cards. And we have if you forgot about it because we have not seen this in Arena in 8 months, Rise of Shadows, which itself had some completely busted cards. So yeah, we have probably the 4 most powerful expansions in the history of Hearthstone, all in Arena at the same time. And the key thing with these expansions is that as powerful as they were, most of their power was regulated to the mid to late game. Like Goblins versus Gnomes, that was an expansion that was focused on the early game, the tempo, getting things down. Here, you got like a lot of like Dreamway Guardians it's fine, it's nothing. But Descent of Dragons, you see the power is in the forest state. You go to other classes. Let me see here. Hunter, they don't really get all that, but Unleash the Beast. The power is in the twin spell Double Wyvern. Mage, the power is in Power of Creation, Calicos, Conjurer's Calling, which is a late game card. Paladin, power is in drawing 2 dragons here. We go here to Priest, which is not loading properly. There we go. You got a powerful mid-game minion. You got a powerful removal here. You've got summon 3, resurrect 3 things. They're probably powerful. Rogue. Okay, Rogue had Lackey, so that was actually more early to mid-game. So Rogue was kind of like the exception there. But if you go through, you see like the really powerful cards in all these expansions were really powerful late-game cards. Like outside, like you had the Lackeys, that was one thing. But then you had the powerful late-game cards that could just completely flip the game. So you got all these expansions that have super powerful mid-game to late-game cards, which means that on average, when you win the game and these cards come out, it's going to be like turn 7, turn 8, turn 9, turn 10. And so Arena's going to slow down because of that. And then in addition, when we go back up here to Ashes of Outland, okay, let's go to neutral here. But when we go to Ashes of Outland and we take a look, there's a lot of really powerful neutral cards, but most of these neutral cards are based off of removals. Here, deal 2, if it kills the target, gets stealth. Let me see here. Other powerful removal cards. Deal 6 damage randomly split among other minions. Powerful removal. Here, Sky Stalker, sticky card. Let me see here. Supreme. Not really powerful, but it's a late game card that's extremely overstated, and so on. So you can see that a lot of these cards, their power is in removals, which means that's also going to push back the win turn of the game. In addition, because you have the taunts, you still have a lot of big taunts. You have the Saviors of Uldum Reborn taunts. You have a few big taunts here, like the Bone Chewer Vanguard. You've got a big taunt here in the Rustied Raider, which is kind of like a baby Amani Warbear. You've got a few here, Scrapyard Colossus, which is a giant taunt. You've got a few big taunts that are big sticky taunts in the class cards. So overall, this is going to be a slower value-based meta. And you're going to have to be able to get through these giant taunts, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for some classes, and because of that, those classes, I'll just go over and I'll say they will perform worse. Alright, so with all of this said, I will start on Demon Hunter, and I'm not sure if I will do, I think I will split Demon Hunter into 2 videos. One video talking about Demon Hunter as a class, and then a second video talking about Demon Hunter in Ashes of Outland. Alright. So that will be the next video. I will see you then.